Hey everyone, Parallel here, and welcome back to another Star Trek Online video. And since this video is going up on January 1st, I thought this would be a good time to wish everyone a Happy New Year. Hopefully you all enjoyed your 2017 and had a wonderful holiday season. Now, what better way to kick off a new year than with a brand new Tier 6 Starship? And I am of course talking about the new Breen Plesh Tral Heavy Raider Tier 6. This is the new winter event ship, and if you have been dutifully grinding for your vouchers, then you will have completed this event ship just recently. I think I have missed maybe 1 or 2 days of farming, so it is possible you've gotten this ship a few days ago, but otherwise, this is brand new, and I would just like to say, it's for all of you who have stuck with your grind and been diligent, congratulations to you for earning your Tier 6 event ship. So, what I'd like to do in this video is just do a breakdown of this ship, take a look at the stats and maybe some general build ideas, go through the visuals of the ship. I'd like to take a look at the ship in the tailor, and then there's not a whole lot of customization options for this, but we will see what is available. I want to also take a look at the Admiralty card and show you the stats of that. And then finally, we'll go into either a Japroi or maybe an Argala and just test this thing out in combat and see how it performs. All right, so let's start out here with just a general overview of the visuals of the ship. You can see I'm actually parked out. One just warped away there, but I was parked next to a ship there with, it looked like it had the Riemann set going on there, or maybe it was a Borg set. Right now in my ship, I am running it with the Iconian visuals, which I think look fantastic on all of the Breen ships. I really like the red and black look. It looks fantastic. Visually, this ship is actually quite nice. I'm not a huge fan of Breen starships and their asymmetry, you know, they always have some asymmetry going on. This one does as well. But it's not too bad. You can kind of see the wings don't line up exactly, but it's not enough to be too jarring. And I think this actually looks really good. I love the just looking at directly onto the front of the ship as a really great frontal. It's not a profile, but just a nice frontal view there. I love the placement of the deflector. I think that looks really, really cool on this ship. It's a very large deflector relative to the size of the ship, but I like it a lot. Yeah, but the Iconian visuals look fantastic. So that is the visuals of the ship. It actually looks like most of the weaponry is in this lower pod here. Looks like it has quite a few hard points, but unfortunately, once you get this ship into combat, you'll find out that the hard points are mostly on these two upper wings of the ship. And some do come out of the midsection as well, but unfortunately these hard points down here don't seem to be used by anything that I've seen so far. But yeah, so all right, so that's just kind of a general impressions of the look of the ship. I think it looks great. It looks great as a Breen starship. All right, so let's get into the stats. Now, as the name implies, this is a Heavy Raider class ship, and along with that, it brings some particular traits. Some of you may not be familiar with Heavy Raiders. Raiders are one of the lesser known ships, I guess, in Star Trek Online. There's not very many ships in this class. But Raiders are essentially, they behave a lot like escorts, but they have a few trade-offs. In particular, they trade off a weapon slot. You can see they only come with 6 total weapon slots. So they trade off a weapon slot for the Raider flanking trait. The Raider flanking trait gives you a nice damage boost when you're hitting an enemy in the aft arc of their ship. So you definitely want to aim for the aft. And that trait does stack with things like the improved flanking from the intel specialization, so that is a good thing to keep in mind. So you're always still going to benefit from the Raider flanking. One other thing that Raiders also have is typically a very flexible bridge officer layout. In fact, some Raiders only have 4 bridge officer seats, but you can see that this the Plesh Tral has a full 5 seats. but 3 of them are universal, so very flexible seating. And in some raiders, like if you're other popular raiders, like of course the bird of prey, like the Burrell is probably the most famous raider, has all universal seating. So yeah, it's a nice advantage of raiders is that flexible bridge officer seating. In fact, I really like the bridge officer seating on this ship. It does come with the commander tactical, and then you get 3 universals, and then you get a science slash pilot, I believe. Yeah, science slash pilot at lieutenant commander rank. So actually a very good bridge officer seating. I like it a lot. You can stick in your 3, if you have 3 Romulans, you can put your 3 Romulans in there and still have 2 lieutenant commanders, 1 for your science and then 1 for your engineer, probably your Mr. Potato Head engineer with the pirate trait. Oh no, sorry, put him in the science. The Nausicaan, if you have a Nausicaan from the embassy, you can, not embassy, it's the diplomatic BOF. Yeah, if you get the diplomatic Nausicaan for your engineer, you can throw them in there. So you have 2 seats there with the pirate trait. So nice flexible bridge officer seating and the raider flanking. So those are the advantages of the ship. Otherwise, I have to admit, it is a pretty standard ship. There's not any huge standout features of this ship, honestly, compared to other raiders. Let's go into the stats here while I'm talking about this. I'll go ahead and do it this way. Let me bring up the winter event store. And for those of you who are curious, you can claim this ship on all of your alts once you've completed the project on your main character. So you just come here to your event store and go to the reputation tab, event store, and then go to your account reclaim, and you'll see it in there. So there it is. So it's nice. So you just have to run the event once on one character, and you can reclaim it on all of your alts. That's been a standard feature in most of the winter and summer events now for several years in Star Trek Online, but didn't always used to be that way. So here you can see are the stats of the ship. I will run down them here very quickly, but they are pretty honestly average or even below average for most raiders. So except for hull strength. Hull strength is 39,600 at level 60, which I believe is top tier for raiders. I think the only raider that would have that high of a hull, I think the Kazon heavy raider, I believe, has a higher hull. So on the higher side of a hull for a raider, but still not very tanky. 39,000 is you're still going to be a very squishy ship. Shield modifier 0.88, pretty low. Even for raiders, there are other raiders that have better shield modifiers than that. It's got the 4-2 weapons, 2 device slots, and I just went through the bridge officer seating. It's got 5 tactical, 3 engineering, 3 science. Pretty good console layout. Turn rate of 19. Again, not the best. In fact, it is, I believe, tied for the lowest turn rate among raiders. Although that's not a huge deal. I think the Burrell has like a 23 degrees per second on the Burrell. So this is definitely on the lower end of raiders as far as turn rate, but 19 is still plenty maneuverable. You shouldn't have too much problem getting into position behind your targets. Impulse modifier 0.21, inertia 7.5, and 15 weapons power, 5 engine power. You do get an experimental weapon slot, and yeah, of course you can have dual cannons, of course. It does come with the universal console. In fact, you will see when I go through the build, I'm actually running the full 4-piece Breen set. So now that we have this final ship here, the Tier 6 upgrade of the the Heavy Raider, we now have a full Tier 6 set of consoles, and I'll go through that full console set, and I'll show you all the different traits, and also when we go into combat, I'll show you what they actually do. So here we go. So here's your improved Raider flanking. You've got your 33% damage when attacking from the rear arc, and it's a little bit less if you're in PvP. And it comes with the Starship Mastery package of the Raider. Let's go ahead and take a look at that here on the ship. So here is the mastery package. You get the accuracy rating, defense rating, kind of meh. You do get kinetic and energy damage, and crit severity is nice. So that's the best part of this mastery package. And then finally, when you max it out, you get a new trait. Now this trait I'm actually a little bit excited for. I've only done a few runs with this, but it does seem to have some potential. This is the cold-hearted trait. Now what this does is it adds a slow / drain / resistance debuff, there's a key thing, to weapons when you have, it says to weapons, and it doesn't really say the condition right here, but if you actually read the text in the trait, you have to have aux to bat running for this to go. Or you can also, it also triggers off, I believe, of pilot abilities as well. But aux to bat, it would, I think, be the preferred usage of this, which is why I am actually running an aux to bat build, something I don't typically do. But I wanted to run aux to bat to give this trait a try. But you can see right there that while this is active, so while you have your aux to bat going, emergency weapon, while active, energy weapons, sorry, apply cold-hearted to foes once per firing cycle. And each stack of cold-hearted causes, you know, all of the effects here: 9.1 negative flight speed, minus 10% all damage resistance rating, which is nice, and minus 2 to current and max all subsystem powers for 15 seconds. Could be actually really good for like a drain build if you wanted to stack this up with a really high drain expertise. Something also Breen's, you know, fits along with a theme of Breen as well. But that can stack up to 5 times, which would mean you could have up to negative 50 to all damage resistance ratings once this stacks up. And in my just initial testing, this stacks up very, very quickly. It does apply once per firing cycle, but it is also per, it seems to be per weapon as well. So you can stack it up very, very quickly. So I'll show you that once we get into combat. So this trait does have a lot of potential, especially if you like running aux to bat builds. And just real quickly while I'm here, running down just my build, just so you can see what I'm using. I'm using Polaron weapons just because it fits along with the Breen 4-piece set, which has some Polaron damage buffing in it. I'm also running a neutronic torpedo, just because, yeah, you know, it has the drain and it's it seems to fit the theme. And there's not a Polaron energy torpedo in the game yet, as far as I know. So just going back to the old neutronic. I am running the 4-piece Iconian set. I've got the omnidirectional chronometric Polaron beam in the rear, and along with the kinetic cutting beam to go along with the assimilated module for the 2-piece. For my experimental weapon, I'm using the flak shot artillery. I don't have the Cation railgun, so I'm just using this, which it seems to be the second best experimental weapon right now. You get this from the competitive reputation. I'm running the red matter capacitor and temporal negotiator in my devices. And here is the 4-piece Breen set. I'll go ahead and here's the actual console you get with the Plesh Tral. Let's go ahead and do more details on this. The other 3 are from the other Breen ships, which is the Sartheln, the Resreth, and the Chelbolg. But this particular one that you get on this ship does have a passive bonus because it is a tier 6 console. So it has 26.6% Polaron damage and plus 25 Starship control expertise. So a little bit of Polaron damage. I'm betting it's Cat 1. I wouldn't think it'd be anything else. And then it also has a clicky ability called Sensor Disruption Field. When this toggle ability is active, all foes within 5 kilometers become placated. So you hit this, it placates all foes within 5 kilometers. And I believe it also has a damage resistance debuff as well. So it's not too bad. If you're going to be getting in close to your target, go ahead and throw this down. And the placate lasts for 10 seconds or until you deal 20,000 damage to the jam target. So honestly, that's not very much damage, so it'll probably break out of the placate quite quickly. But if you're trying to get some other foes off your back and they're nearby, you could use this. And plus it also does have the damage resistance debuff, which is good. And then we'll take a look here at the set bonuses. So yeah, this set is called the Hypercooled Technology set. So you got 4 pieces here, like I mentioned from the other 3 Breen ships, along with this one. The 2-piece set is Cryonic Reaction Assembly. It gives you Starship control expertise and drain expertise. Again, if you're going to run a drain build on a Breen ship, it might be something to try out. Something I might look into someday, but I have more about the drain consoles on my science character, which I'm not using right now. So it also gets here as your 3-piece set bonus, you get Super Cooled Weapon, which is minus 20% weapons power cost. Pretty good. And then the 4-piece set bonus is Enhanced Cryonic Relays, plus 5% max hit points, and then 50% recharge time reduction to the Breen console abilities, so you can use all of your console abilities even more quickly. And for anyone else who's curious, I'll just quickly mouse over these other Breen consoles. You got the Resonant Dissipation Matrix here, which is gives a shield heal buff and exotic damage buff. You've got the Breen Energy Dissipator, which is shoots out a little destructible projectile, which drains their subsystem power. I've not had good luck with this at all, but it does come with a passive 1% crit chance and 25 Starship Drain Expertise. Again, good for a drain build. And then you've got your Energy Discharge Capacitor, another kind of wonky ability here. It does come with 3% max hit points and 2 power to all subsystems, which is kind of cool. But it's a little bit odd because the clicky ability, this Energy Discharge Array, is a little bit weird. It gives you this weird stacking energy charge for every foe within 5 kilometers. Every 1 second, it kind of stacks up, and then it unleashes it on your target. It's kind of gimmicky. I've not had that much success with it, so honestly, not the best 4-piece consoles. I mean, you're giving up 4 whole console slots to run this set, so probably I wouldn't recommend this other than for some gimmick builds. But you might want to run like the 2-piece set bonus for like a drain build to get that drain bonus. That'd be worth it. I'm running also a Plasmatic Leech and a simulated module here. So, and of course, full vulnerability locators for Polaron in my tactical slots. Running just a full tactical build in my skills. I am running Intel and Strategist. Pretty much standard meta build there as far as skills and specializations. You can see here my traits. Of course, I am going to be testing out, here is the Cold-Hearted trait from the ship. I will be testing this out primarily, but I'm also running Supercharged Weapons, redirecting arrays, and then All Hands on Deck. I could probably get rid of All Hands on Deck since I'm running Ox to Bat. But and then of course Emergency Weapon Cycle, my favorite trait pretty much in the whole game. All right, and there's my bridge officers. You can see I'm running Ox to Bat here. I've got my 2 Ox to Bat set up here on my engineering slot, so we'll be going there. I am of course running in my duty officers roster active space. I am of course running 3 technicians. They're only blue quality here. Like I said, I don't run Ox to Bat very often, so I've not invested the millions of energy credits to buy the purple quality offs, but there you go. And then also running Agent Nerul, Akum, which is like, he reduces the recharge time on your attack pattern, Beta, Delta, and Omega. He's basically a Zaymok. He's the Zaymok you get from the Temporal. This is my Temporal character. And then also Count Officer for reducing the time on tactical team and also increasing the buff. So there we go. So that is the build, and I'm very excited to test this out. But before we go testing this out in combat, I do want to do a little bit more on the visuals. Let's go ahead and fly around here, get some size comparisons. Yep, so here is a Vengeance. So you can see the Plesh Tral here is a very small ship compared to the Vengeance. Let's see what else we've got going around here. Compared to like a Phantom, pretty comparable, actually quite a bit bulkier, not nearly as flat. So it's, yeah, I mean, it's I'd say larger than some Raiders, but, you know, larger than, say, a pilot ship, but definitely a lot smaller than any of the cruisers. So I guess about what you'd expect from a heavy Raider. But you can see also, let me just show you the turn rate. You know, it's 19 degrees per second, so it's, yeah, it's very maneuverable. And you can always throw on your basic maneuvers, and you can very quickly get into position as you need. So very maneuverable little ship. Again, not top in its class as far as Raiders go, but, you know, it gets the job done. All right, so let's go ahead and dock and head over to the ship tailor and take a look at the customization options. Oh, and I should also probably show the bridge. I actually haven't looked at the bridge yet, but I'm assuming it's just the standard Breen bridge. All the other Breen ships have that the same bridge. So if you have any of the other Breen ships and you've seen the bridge, you've probably seen this one. I'm guessing it's not anything new. Oh wait, where am I going? I was heading over to the auction house. So let's go ahead and head down here. Take a look at the ship tailor. Again, not too much as far as options, but there are a couple skins that are available, and I believe you can also do, yeah, in fact you can see it here. Let me go and cancel out. I went to the default for some reason, but right, so here is the new, the Plesh Tral. Now if you look at the old, you can use the old Plesh Breck. So there's the old Plesh Breck. I didn't realize, but the Plesh Breck had a very large deflector array as well. But yep, there's the old Plesh Breck, and here's the Plesh Tral. So Plesh Breck has like a longer, the third leg here on the bottom is much longer compared to the ship, whereas this one is a little bit farther down from the ship, but not quite as long, as it was much more similar length to the upper two wings. So very interesting ship. But again, I do like the design. I do like the weapon hardpoints, even if they're not being used. I like the visuals of it, because the weapon hardpoints are not quite as obvious on this, the older model. But yep, here's the newer model, and I've got to escape out here. Let me turn off the Iconian visuals here, so you can see what the actual skin looks like. Yep, so there is the actual skin. So what materials we've got? We've got the Type 1, which is the traditional Breen skin. And then you've got the upgrade, which is the more metallic looking Breen skin, which also I think looks great. I do like the upgrade skin on the Breen, on all the Breen ships. I like the more shiny. I like how it's also black, which I think it was why it goes so well with the Iconian visuals, because the black base and then with the red accents looks fantastic. As far as yeah, you can change it as well. That's interesting. On the old Plesh Breck, the deflector was blue. That's odd. I didn't realize that. And you can see there are different patterns you can pick from. So they do get displayed. I do, of course, like the Corvus pattern myself, although it looks a little bit odd there. You could probably change the coloring a little bit here. You wanted to go with like the green theme there to match the glowing bits. You could do that. So definitely some pretty cool options here. Again, not a huge amount. You only got 2 materials. Any windows? Oh yeah, you can change the windows. Huh, look at that. So you do get 3 types of windows. And you do get the patterns. And then you can also use the old visuals as well. So that's about as much as you have as far as customization. Pretty the average as far as event ships go. It is nice that they allow you to use the old skin if you prefer the more canon looking. Although I don't know if this Plesh Breck was canon. Was this ever in Deep Space Nine shown? I don't recall now. I know the Chalgret is canon. That was in a lot of the Deep Space Nine episodes when the Breen came in. All right, so that is the visuals. Let's go ahead and turn on the Iconian again because I really, really like it. Now, before I head out and do combat, like I said, I did want to take a look at the bridge, and let me also show the Admiralty card. I do actually really like the Breen Admiralty cards, so let's head down here. Let's do it this way. Let's say I was going to queue up for a... Let's see if we got a tough one here. Here's a 100, 100, 100. Let's do that. All right, so let's say we're going to do a mission here. Let's do only tier 5 and 6. So we've got the... So here are the old Breen, the tier 5 Breen. I actually really like these. I like these ships that have plus stats. Just because it helps you get a higher crit rating on your missions when you slot them. Let's go ahead and put these in just for now. So here are the old tier 5 ones. And now if we wanted to bring in the new tier 6 Breen, can I move this over? Yeah, I can't really move it over. So here's the Chel Bolg, which is the upgrade for the Chalgret. So this has plus 10 tack per end ship. And then here is the Plesh Tral, which is an upgrade to the Plesh Breck. And this has plus 8 science and engineering per tack ship. This has, the old one had plus 8 tack and per eng ship or psi ship. So the old ones were a little more flexible, that they would get the bonus from more types of ships, whereas the new ones, the new one gives you more bonus into it gives you bonus into 2 stats, but it only gets it from tack ships. But a lot of the Breen are tack ships. So let's put this one here, and let's put also the Chel Bolg there from last year. So pretty solid set already. You can see we're already at 72, 125, 71. We could stick in another one of the Breen ships. The Sarthelon would give us a good amount of science and a decent amount of engineering, but the Resurrect would give us a lot of engineering. Both are good Admiralty cards. The Resurrect in particular is nice if you need to get rid of a tactical modifier from your mission, which is actually very, very handy. And then the Sarthelon is actually decent too because it gives you that minus 10% maintenance. So you definitely got some options here. If you're going for a more science-heavy team, you could go with this, which this team here will easily meet the 100, 100, 100 Admiralty mission. Let's see what we get with the Resurrect here. Yeah, I guess it just kind of depends if you need to have more engineering or more psi. You could throw either one in there. Of course, this gets the tactical bonus per end ship. I mean, you're up to 168 tactical with this team as well. So yeah, I think it's a really good Admiralty card. I do like the bonus from, when you slot it with another tack ship. It goes well with the other Breen ships. So yeah, a good Admiralty card. I like it a lot. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and head out. I guess we'll go to Argala. And as soon as we get down to space here, I will take a look at the bridge like I promised. It might take a little while to load in, but I am actually curious to see because I have not checked myself. But I would say it's a 99% chance it is the standard Breen bridge. Oh, wow, that loaded in quickly. Yeah, I forgot this bridge does look a lot different with the new lighting model. So, wow, in fact, my character looks evil. Look at these glowing red eyes. This looks different. Have I seen this with the new lighting model? I don't know if I've been in here since the new lighting engine was added. But yeah, you've got your captain's chair here, right in front of a nice cryogenic vent. But yeah, what can I say? It's a Breen bridge. You've got coolant leaks everywhere. You got smoke. You've got, you know... Although I don't know about these glowing red lights. Not quite sure what the point of these are. But they definitely seem to be actual light sources in the new lighting model, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, guys, there's the Breen Bridge. Nothing too special. You've got your library. You've got, I'm assuming, your account bank. It's just got your standard consoles here. It's nothing fancy like a Ferengi ship that you have your, access to the exchange and all that good stuff. But select small craft. So yeah, pretty standard as far as bridge amenities. There's no other rooms or anything attached. It's just this one room. All right, but there we go. The ambient light is quite dark, I have to say, with the new lighting engine. It's definitely dependent on all of the individual light sources in the environment. All right, finally, let's kick this thing into action here. Let's go over to the Delta Quadrant and check out Argala. So like I said, I will be using an aux to bat build to test out this new trait. I am on advanced difficulty as well. It seems to be a good balance for testing. In regular difficulty, ships die too fast, and in the elite, they're a little bit of hit point sponges, so I think advanced is kind of a good balance there. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think of this ship down in the comments below if you've gotten your hands on one. Congratulations. Alright, let's head in here. Congratulations, I hope you enjoy it. It is, like I said, it's pretty average as far as Raiders go, but it does have access to the Breen consoles if you like playing around with those, and it does have the new trait. Alright, so here we got some Malon. Before I get into range here, let's go ahead and start my aux to bat going. Okay, now I am going to open fire here. And you will see stacked up already to 5. You can see right there, cold-hearted. Wow, okay, so they died quickly. So you can see it stacks up very, very quickly to 5. Because it is guaranteed that once per firing cycle. And if you got all your weapons going, it's going to stack up to 5 very quickly. Let's do it one more time. You can see it's... Oh, I only got 3 on that one. 5 on that one. So by the second firing cycle, you're pretty much going to be guaranteed stacked up to 5. And when you got your fire at will going, it's going to go on to all of them. So I have to say, that's honestly a pretty solid trait. Of course, I am a raider. I should be flanking these guys, although he's tractor beaming now, so that's... Tractor beams are definitely the kryptonite of raiders, or even escorts. If you ever get tractor beamed, it just kind of ruins your day. Probably worth running a ability to get rid of tractor beams. Let's go ahead and get some flanking damage in here. You can see all those flanking damages going up. Let's head over here and get some flanking bonuses on this guy. Wow, even these guys got tractor beams. That's going to ruin your day. Let's, there we go. I'm going to head over to these guys. Let's take a look at the clicky ability, which is the sensor disruption field. Let's go ahead and hit in here, and 5 kilometers. So they have the sparkles like they're placated. So, I mean, it does placate them. I don't know how long it lasts, because as soon as you do 20,000 damage, which is like a couple hits, it says it breaks the placate anyway, so there we go. Alright, so here's the last encounter. Now here's the flagship. I'm going to go ahead and maneuver around here and get... Whoops. Let me turn my macro off there. So, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and head around here and get some flanking on this guy. Yeah, get all those nice, wonderful flanking bonuses. That is the reason to be a raider. Hey, how about you tractor beaming me? You're dead. Shouldn't be doing that. Alright. And there we go. There is a run of Argala on the Plesh Tral Heavy Raider, Tier 6. That was the console as well. I feel like doing one more run. That was pretty quick. Why don't we head over to Japroi and do that? But I did at least get a chance to show you the clicky. The clicky is, you know, I mean, it's kind of meh for the placate, but you are getting the damage resistance debuff as well, so can't complain about that. Even if they're not placated, you're at least doing a little bit more damage. Plus, you know, that stacking up with your 5 stacks from your cold-hearted, that's pretty nice. I mean, overall, that trait definitely has some possibilities. I would highly recommend anyone with a Aux to Bat build to give this trait a try. That's actually very nice. I like when Cryptic gives out a nice solid trait with the event ships, because that means everyone has access to it. You know, even new players, you know, can get access to it without having to buy an expensive, you know, lockbox ship or whatnot, which is usually where all the good traits are hidden. Or, you know, C-store ships as well, I guess, have good traits. But it's nice to give the free-to-play players something that a decent trait that they can use on their ships. All right, where are we going here? We got to go back to the Beta Quadrant, and Japroi should be right nearby. But I mean, overall, this is a solid ship for a Tier 6 free ship. You know, how does it stack with other raiders? Like I said, it's pretty average. I think what would have been perfect on this ship, since it has a pilot seating, I think would have been really nice if they had put this ship with the, or if they've given this ship the pilot maneuvers from the pilot ships. That would have been pretty cool, something to kick this thing up a notch, because right now it doesn't have like any special abilities or anything. And I would say, honestly, it's probably strictly inferior to, say, like the Temporal Raider. The Temporal Raider is very, very nice, and it has the Molecular Deconstruction Beam, which is a fantastic ship ability. Plus, it also doesn't have a cloak. I think that's my main complaint about this ship, is it just doesn't have a cloak. And a Raider without a cloak is just, it's just not, doesn't seem right, you know what I mean? It's like, the whole idea of a Raider is you get in, you know, you cloak up, you go in quiet, you get right behind your target, and, you know, you line up your Alpha Strike, decloak, and boom, you vaporize them. That's the whole idea of a Raider. You know, it gives you that easy way to take advantage of the Raider flanking. Whereas, I don't know, these the Raiders without the cloak is just kind of a, yeah, it's kind of, yeah, it just seems to be lacking. It takes a while to maneuver behind the targets, you know what I mean? So you're wasting more time lining up your shot. I mean, it's still a very maneuverable ship, so it's not that bad, but, you know. Okay, let's go in here and use the quickie. Did it placate all of them? I couldn't really see the spark. Yeah, I guess, yeah, it did sparkles, but yeah, it's still good for that damage debuff as well. One other thing that is nice about the Breen set, the console set, is that this clicky right here, the Resonant Dissipation Matrix, It's actually not too bad. It's a nice survivability trait. When you use it, gives you a very solid buff to all of your damage resistance and shield resistances, and gives you also a recharge time reduction on your bridge officer abilities, which is pretty cool. Let's use these other clickies just for fun here. You see that electricity thing? It like absorbs all the electricity nearby and then focuses on your target. Kind of a gimmicky clicky. It doesn't really do the best damage. It's kind of hard to maximize it. So yeah, I mean, overall, I don't know. I just don't think the Breen set is really all that worth it. Just, you know, it's a lot of opportunity cost to take up 5 or 4 console slots for this. The placate is kind of cool. The damage reduction is kind of cool, but, you know, there are other better ones out there. I do like the Resonant Dissipation Matrix just for that really, really nice survivability buff for those 15 seconds while it's up. And also that recharge time reduction. That's actually a really good clicky. Out of all of the consoles, I think that's the best clicky. The other two, again, are very gimmicky with the electricity damage and the energy discharge array. Again, with that's the energy one. This one is the energy dissipator also has that targetable projectile that goes out. So yeah, it's just not the best console set in the world. But overall, I mean, it's a pretty solid ship. I mean, it's a raider. If you like raiders, this one will be right up your alley. It's a free, quote unquote free. Yes, you had to work for it, you had to grind for it, but which is you know, free as far as currency goes, but definitely requires effort to get this ship. But still, I mean, it's good for free-to-play players. Definitely worth it for, you know, for new players. If you're just getting into a tier 6 ship, you know, this is certainly something that will kick you off and get you going in the end game. So yeah, that's it, guys. That is the Plesh Tral Raider. Just doing a little bit of circling here, just showing the visuals of the ship one last time. Closing thoughts on the ship. I would say, you know, it's nice to finally have a, you know, the complete Breen set, right? So we've got the complete Breen set of all 4 starships at tier 6 rating, and it's nice to have this kind of, you know, bookend closing out the set. Now, I really hope, you know, we've got the complete console set, we've got the complete ship set. I really hope that next year, Cryptic will do something new. Let's hope finally the winter event will bring us something new besides yet another Breen ship. Because, you know, even though some of the Breen ships are really good, the Chel Bulg was an amazing warship, but it's just a little bit fatiguing here for 4 years in a row to have Breen ships. So, yeah, it would be really nice to finally have something different, something other than Breen. And what most people I'd like to, and I agree with most people here, is that Andorian would be a perfect fitting race as well, because they're kind of a cold-dwelling race, and that'd be perfect for the winter event. So I'd love to see some Andorian, like an updated Kumari or something would be sweet. I mean, there's all kinds of cool things they could do with Andorian ships. So here's hoping next year, guys, will be an Andorian, tier 6 Andorian ship. So, but yeah, until then, enjoy your tier 6 Raider here, guys. Yeah, and I think that covers it. All right. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I do appreciate it. And that's all. Bye for now.